All right, my name is Tom Arnold, and I am running for councilman of District C for the New Orleans City Council. I have been the elected assessor in Algiers, the 15th Ward, since 1985. As they've gone to one assessor, as they know, I really love my district, I'm respected in my district, and I enjoy what I do. To be the one assessor was a very tough decision for me to run for that, and then when Mr. Carter announced that he wasn't running, I said, well, this is fate, because I feel like I still have a lot I can do for District C, which includes Algiers, the French Quarter, Faubourg, Marigny, Bywater, Faubourg St. John, and I was raised on that side. I'm a public school graduate attending S.J. Peters, which is now Israel Augustine, and Warren Easton. I knew the area. I worked in the French Quarter when I was in high school, in the evenings, and in college. And in college, I went to work at the fairgrounds. So I'm very familiar with the East Bank. I have lived on the West Bank for some 40-something plus years, and I have 5 sons and 5 daughters-in-laws to get along with each other. 10 wonderful grandchildren, 5 boys and 5 girls. That I take my job seriously as a pawpaw. I spoil them all.
Well, let me do this. I got some questions for you.
Okay.
You don't even need me. I think you can do this whole interview without me. But I'm going to ask you just a few things. You started talking about yourself a little bit. Talk a little bit about who is Mr. Tom Arnold. Go back to that childhood and bring us to the current day. Who's Tom?
Sure. I am one of 10. I had 7 brothers and 2 sisters. My father never made more than $10,000 in his life. When I was born, my daddy, as I always refer to him, had his own business. He was in a building, one half of which was his photography studio, where he did portraits, and the other half was a toy shop where he made all his own toys. And of course, he did this pre-World War II and through, and you know, that's almost not possible at all today, because in photography, you got drugstores, and they never had that. And toy manufacturers, I don't have to tell you about that. So after during the end of the war, and he was frustrated because he could no longer compete, and he was from Pimlico, Maryland originally, which is part of Baltimore now and has a racetrack. He invented the photo finish camera system. He took a cigar box with a Sunbeam Mixmaster motor, a lens, and a mirror. Now you can stand in front of a photo finish camera to this day, and they'll never take a picture. But if you're going at 28 miles an hour, it rolls head on. And this is how they became able to see who won by a nose, how many links they were apart, because you could actually measure it on the film. And he went around the country installing this, and later into movies, so the stewards at the head of the racetrack could see if somebody claimed somebody did something else, they could see it from 3 different angles. So this is what my daddy did, but once again, he never made more than $10,000. I never knew I was poor. I didn't feel I was poor. I didn't feel I was wanting for anything.
Right.
I was, lived on South Dupree Street with a big window in the back of the house and the doors open. If you dropped a piece of paper, it was you in a run to get that paper before it got to the front. And we sat on the stoops. Those are the days when neighborhoods were neighborhoods. Back in those days, we'd go play ball, and it didn't make any difference if you're black or white. We'd go play football at Jefferson Davis. We'd get in fights and everything. Every time we get on the same bicycle. That was good.
I want to talk to you about that, because I believe people's upbringing has a lot to do with who they are and how they lead. Definitely. Talk about your leadership style, currently in the office that you're in now, but more importantly, in District C, City Council of District C. What would you do? How are you?
My success in politics is really very simple, and I learned this a long time ago from a great man named John Elms, he's called him Tech, who was down to earth, which I feel I am. You do 3 things that'll make you successful. Number 1, when people call you, return the phone calls. I don't mean you have your secretary, I mean you return the phone calls, no matter how long it takes. Number 2 is if people want to see you, they can see you. Be accessible. My office in Algiers, and I understand it's only in the courthouse, but I intend to change everything as a councilman. My office in Algiers, you don't need to call up, make an appointment 3 days ahead of time, etc. As the time's Picayune got on me when that big assessor thing, come in, have a cup of coffee, and we'd sit down and talk. It's that simple.
All right.
And number 3 is you get an answer. If you come into my office, this is very key, and you want something, you need help with something, I will tell you yes, and I will do it. I'll tell you I can't do it. You got to know. People might leave not happy with the answer, but they left with an answer.
Right.
They weren't postponed for a month or 2 months. And that's basically, I'm a down-home guy. I'm a grassroots guy. Like I said, I was raised in a family. I used to turn around and look at my Sunday dinner when that chicken walked by. I understand that. You know.
Talk to us about, it's clear you're accessible and you clearly come off easy to talk with. Talk about what's one of your single largest initiatives that you want to implement. Something that when you look at District C, you're just saying, man, there's something I want to really make sure I get done in as the District C council person.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, if I watched the news, I mean, the replay of the city council meetings and all at night, it's well, frustrated me and drove me to run for this office. You know, if we can't get along with each other, then we'll never bring people back.
Yeah. That's
that simple. And my single, you know, it's hard to say single because everything's multifaceted today. It's not like it was in 1956, you know. And you got the first, and I did this when I became an assessor. I had to bring those 7 people together because everybody was everywhere.
Right.
So today, I brought them together. That's how we got into computer systems. That's how we got into different funding. And the same thing with the city council. The city council can't sit there and argue with each other and hold up billboards. They can't attack people. You know, my policy in Algiers is what we did, we meaning the senator, the state reps, the assessor, the council people, we would sit down, just us, in the morning, could be in my house or one of the houses, have coffee, and talk about things, what we got going, what's right, what's wrong. And so you never, and a lot of people, a lot of elected officials of the state were jealous, you never saw us fighting like that. We may not agree on a candidate or on an issue, but we knew it before we went out and did it. And if we did agree, and that way, you know, you do your dirty laundry. You don't put your dirty laundry in the street. You make sure that you're unified because the city's not unified. Look what's happening. There's money laying around that we could use that we can't even get to.
Well, it's waiting on the next administration. That's the good news.
Yeah.
I got one question.
Very, very important.
One question from our Facebook friends, and then I'll give you an opportunity to close out.
All right.
This one comes from Michael Jeter. It says, how will your administration deal with abandoned houses and businesses?
That's the one I highlight. And I'm very strong on this, and I don't know if you... Pre-Katrina, the city of New Orleans had over 15,000 properties that were adjudicated to the city of New Orleans, non-payment of taxes, blighted, or whatever. Post-Katrina is more than twice that, maybe 3 times. And they go to auction, nobody bids on them. Number one, after it goes to auction twice, they're adjudicated to the city, which means in essence they own them. But they never have taken title. So what I suggest is this, and I'm trying to make it short. If you're trying to sell a piece of property that's got a house leaning on it or falling down, well, who's going to buy it? You know, I've got some African-American developers in Algiers. Kent comes to mind. It's doing a wonderful job. But I suggest if we can't sell it because who's going to buy it, then have to clean it up, and then have to build. We should go in there, any properties that are decided unrepairable or economically unrepairable, cost more to fix it than you can. We bulldoze. We take them down. Then you can sell nice, clean, green lots.
Right.
And developers will come in because they don't have to clear them. And you take that money and reinvest it in your program.
All right. Well, look, we've got about 15 seconds, so I'd just like you to remind people your name and what you're running for and your campaign number. We thank you for your time.
I thank you. And my name is Tom Arnold. I'm number 46 on the ballot. I'm running for a city council, District C of New Orleans, which is Faubourg, Marigny, Tremé, Faubourg St. John, the French Quarter, and Algiers. I have been a public servant for over 20 years, but I didn't get into this until my children were old enough. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you.